I do this because I have a passion for helping people and helping them get a job. And I can't guarantee a job, but I can help you with their resume and I can help you with their interviewing. And prep work is exactly what you need for an interview. Don't go wing it. And that's what we'll discuss today.
Yes, and if I'd like to add, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them on the chat box on your bottom right over there. I will try to do a good job to try to get all of those questions answered. The first part of this webinar, we're just going to go through some strategies that you can use with your job search, how you can utilize social media, what are some of the companies that are hiring, and what industries are hiring. So we'll go into that, and then we'll go into how to prepare your resume, what to some few interview tips, and then finally we'll be doing the mock interview. So feel free if you have any questions, feel free to throw your LinkedIn URL on there if you'd like to get connected. We can all get connected here. That's the point of networking, so just we can all get to know each other. We're hosting these webinars every month, so if anybody would like to connect with each other, please feel free to do so. So if Dana, please, could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. One more over. Great. So today we'll be doing resumes, social media, internet job searching, networking, interviewing, and we've got a bit of a checklist for students who are graduating or student graduating for new opportunities. Next slide, please. All right. So I kind of put this together, being that we work in a staffing industry. I've kind of seen some trends that that could be helpful for a lot of people that are looking out for new opportunities. So with COVID-19 impacted a lot of different industries. I mean, airline industries, a lot of industries that have been impacted. But you know, as those industries start to improve, there've been industries right now that have continued either to stay the same or continue to hire. So some of those industries are your consumer goods, telecommunications, healthcare is a big one. We've got healthcare clients that are hiring quite a bit, financial companies, pharmaceuticals, logistics, and IT. So we've got a number of industries that are continuing to hire. So a lot of people having a lot of anxiety and stress, you know, if they are looking for a new job. So maybe if you focus your applications towards those type of industries, maybe you can have a better success. So next slide, please.
Okay, I wanted to add retail. Retail is taking a big hit.
Yeah, so these are retail definitely took a big hit. So the list that I have right there are industries that are least impacted.
Oh,
so,
I'm sorry. Yes.
No worries, but retail was hit pretty bad. But you know, they are improving. Things are changing with their business. So you know, probably in our next webinar, I'll have some numbers up there for what our retail clients have been doing. But these industries over here are doing pretty good too. Go to the next slide, Dana. Thank you. So kind of put together some companies, you know, within those industries that you may want to look at. With consumer goods, there's a lot of big companies that are out there, and even some mid-sized companies and smaller companies. But you can look, you know, you can take a picture of this list. A few companies, just to kind of name up. You've got Nestle and Procter & Gamble, PepsiCo. These companies are, you know, still hiring for a number of different positions. You've got telecommunications. You've got your AT&T, Verizon, Ericsson, Sprint. These companies, you know, are continuing to hire. They've got a number of positions over there. So you can take a look at that with financials, with with healthcare, pharmaceuticals, IT, and logistics. So if you go on their company websites, you can, you know, look at the number of positions that are open over there. And there are a number of these clients that we work with as well. So reach out to ICONMA. We can help you with, you know, getting into contract positions, getting into full-time positions, freelance work. So just reach out to us. I wanted to just quickly bring in my colleague Jeff into this. He is over in the Midwest area. Jeff, what would you like to add? Anything? What are you seeing with your clients? Are you do you have any tips, any advice for folks who may be looking for opportunities in a specific industry?
Hey Jeff, can you also start your video so that we can see you as you talk? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I was just, when I logged out and logged in, I failed to start the video. Thanks, Dana. Hey, so yeah, welcome everybody. This is a great little Zoom meeting that Anurag and Dana are putting on. If you haven't been one before, these are really beneficial. So take a lot of notes and follow up with us afterwards. Connect with Anurag and Dana on LinkedIn. They really have a good grasp on how to help people look for jobs and get hired. So as Anurag mentioned, I'm actually in the Midwest. I'm in Iowa, of all places, and it's a little bit different environment than Texas, but we're experiencing the same ups and downs with the with everything that's going on, just as far as the lack of hiring goes. So I've traditionally worked with a lot of manufacturing companies and all throughout the nation, but particularly the large manufacturing companies, whether they're automotive or consumer goods or aerospace, they've all pulled back a little bit, but at the same time, they're all cautiously optimistic and they're all sitting on the edge of their seats, just waiting for one good piece of good news to make things go. So what I can say is these are really good companies that Anurag has outlined, but don't hesitate to apply to to companies that aren't on this list, because there are good things that are coming. And it's, again, people are just, from the context that I've worked with for over 20 years, they give me good information, and these big manufacturing companies in numerous industries are literally just waiting for any good piece of good news, and their leadership is ready to make things go again. So just because they don't have a job listed doesn't mean that you shouldn't be reaching out to people on LinkedIn at those companies. If there's a company near where you currently reside and you think it's a good company to work with, continue to try to connect with people on LinkedIn so that when those jobs do come open, you might have some more resources or some more angles to possibly get connected there. So just what I can say from a manufacturing perspective, just don't forget about that, especially if you have companies that are that you've targeted that you think would be good to work with. So continue to press forward with those, even though that things are a little bit slower now.
And if you connect with us on LinkedIn, like Jeff suggested, you have access to our networks as well.
Right, exactly. And yeah, Jeff made a good point. There's a number of companies that are not on this list that everybody should take a look at as well. This is just a very small list that I put together off these industries, but there are a lot of companies out there that are still hiring. And yes, connect with us. We've got a network of companies that we interact with on a daily basis that are looking for folks. So there may be a position that you may fall into that you may be looking for. So definitely try to see if you can stay with this industry. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
All right, so just quickly, I'm just going to touch base on social media. So, there's a lot of different ways to connect with people and land a job, but your social media accounts are pretty important, especially in 2020 with COVID-19. There's a lot of ways you can connect with companies. So first thing you got to do if you are serious about looking for a job is first Google yourself. There's a lot of information that's out there for you that you may not know that exists. So you want to start off being clean. So Google yourself, make sure your stuff that's there belongs there, and stuff that doesn't belong there, maybe you can edit those out. So create a LinkedIn profile. Obviously, everybody knows what LinkedIn is. One of the most powerful tools when it comes to connecting professionally, and a lot of companies hire right off LinkedIn as well. So make sure you're up to date on your LinkedIn as well. And then review your social media accounts. You got your Facebook, you've got Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever's out there. As long as you can connect with people, I would suggest take advantage of that. A lot of people are working for a number of different companies that are hiring. You can reach out to them and get a referral. So just don't be afraid to just keep reaching out to people, whether it's on LinkedIn or even Facebook or Twitter or any of those. So next slide, Dana.
Sure. Oh, and I just wanted to add, though on Facebook, you probably want to untag yourself from the fraternity parties pictures and, that kind of stuff. You don't want to have your new employer or possible employer see those kinds of things because it could negatively impact the job process.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, important to clean that up. Let's go throughout the slide here, Dana. Let's just go towards all the animation. So, networking, just kind of just going through it again. So a lot of things you can do is use your connections that you have on LinkedIn and all your other platforms. Your colleagues or your former colleagues, so folks that you're currently working with, just talk to them, or people that you've worked with in the past on, what their company processes are. And once you learn that process, it'll be a lot easier when you're applying for a position. LinkedIn contacts, staffing and recruiting professionals. So a lot of companies, a lot of agencies that help people get into opportunities, reach out to them, reach out to professional organizations that are available online. I mean, there's a number of positions that are a number of groups that are small, a number of groups that are large. You can interact with a lot of people on there and just learn about what's going on and get referrals. Usually university career services, they're open for alumni, they're open for students. So that's a very good source of information on what's been going on and what is going to continue to go on. And your friends, family, these guys are there to help you out. So, the point is just you're just connecting with people, connecting as many people as possible during a week. And if you are serious about getting your dream job or getting your job, you got to utilize all these different points. So
absolutely. Don't be afraid to, reach out to someone on our networks. If, for example, if you grabbed a company, I think PepsiCo was on there, and you started researching jobs there on LinkedIn, if you're connected with me on our object, you can see those postings and connect with our people. So what you see a job posting, let's say PepsiCo, for example, if you look at the network and you see somebody else works at PepsiCo in the same department as the job description, then you can reach out to them. And 9 times out of 10, people want to help you. So that's all I had. I just wanted to add
that's
that.
Good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, resumes.
All right, so we're gonna,
resumes. Go ahead.
So Dana's gonna go into different ways you can upgrade your resume, build your resume. If you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to throw it on the chat box. If you'd like to ask any questions after the fact, you can always reach out to Dana as well. Her contact information will be provided at the end of this presentation. So take it away, Dana.
All right. So I'm going to run through this pretty fast because we've talked about it in more detail in previous webinars. As a part of this series, we're focusing on interviewing. So I'm going to go over a couple things here in best practices, and then we'll move on to the mock interview. So rule of thumb, limit your resume to 1 to 2 pages. If you're graduating senior, 1 page, unless you've had some significant work that ties into the position that you're applying for. Make sure you use common fonts. Don't reduce the size of it for people to try and read when you're trying to get it under 2 pages. You don't want to go under font size 11. Be consistent with your margins on both sides. Add bullet points where applicable. It goes especially in the professional experience section of your resume. Make sure you include plenty of white space. It helps to be able to read better. And use past tense action verbs, and I get some examples there. Under your work history, you worked as, you managed a team, you consulted with, you performed what, you saved this much money. That's the kind of thing that you're going for there. And then consider scanning software limitations, and what that means is that they use a scanner sometimes, or most of the time actually, and if you have a lot of bling or whatever on your resume, it could be kicked out because it can't read it. And also, be honest, focus on your accomplishments, do not exaggerate. You don't want to be in this position 2 weeks after you get hired. More best practices, make sure that you have plenty of people proofread. I'd say at least 2. then, when you do your resume, you need to know that professional employers look for your attention to detail and your written communication skills. So your resume needs to be great. Anyway, always use positive language, that both in resume and interviewing. Do not express any negativity, especially about previous employers or supervisors. And the reason why that is, they would think, well, what would this person say about me or my, the company that we work for? We don't want to do that, And then you can consider more than one career option and create an additional resume for each possibility. And sometimes it's good to tweak your main resume for the job position. Let's see, your professional summary. So I'll go through this real quick. There are 3 W questions. That's my little thing. 3 W's. Your professional summary is at the very top of your resume, and it's the most important thing that will be read, because they will use the professional summary to determine whether or not they're going to read the rest. So the 3 W's that I say for the professional resume is, who am I, what have I done, and what do I want to do? Okay, and sometimes it's best to leave out your years of experience. If you're getting ready to retire and you need to work for 1 or 2 more years, you don't want to just scream to the resume reader that you're about to retire. So sometimes it's not great to have that at the very top. Okay, on references, make sure you choose the appropriate people, and by appropriate, or the best people to talk to be your references. These could be professors, if you're attending school, supervisors, colleagues, your volunteer leaders, your network connections. Make sure you ask for permission and have each reference provide a title, email address, area code, and phone number. It might be good to go ahead and talk to them on the phone and kind of explain what type of position that you're applying for, so they're more prepared to provide the referral. All right. As far as referrals are concerned, you don't put, don't put that on your resume that references are available upon request. That's not necessary. They know that. That should be, the main thing is that in interviewing. So I'm going to just go over a few tips, and then we're going to jump into that mock interview. You need to research the company. Know the most common interview questions. Write down your answers. Provide a list of questions to ask that is not answered in the job description. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure your phone's turned off. That's very important. You're silenced. Make sure you provide good eye contact with every person in the room if you have a panel interview. Just make sure that you look at each person who is interviewing you as you answer. That's maintaining good eye contact. It shows that you're confident. And so make sure you're positive in your answers. Do not criticize. Wait for the prospective employer to mention benefits and salary, and then consider hiring a professional mock interview service. Here we go. Anurag, do you have anything to add before we move on?
No, thanks for that. This is information that is really useful when you're looking for a job, and it all depends on how aggressive you are. If you're looking to be aggressive, you better use a process and make sure you're following up on the jobs that you're applying for, and creating those references and connecting with people and getting that foot in the door. The other part is you can work with agencies like ICONMA, where we've got a number of these positions, and they're open throughout the nation. So if you're looking for somebody, if you know somebody's looking for an opportunity, you can always send them our way, and we can help them out anytime. So what we're going to start doing now is we're going to have a mock interview. So Dana, she's going to be interviewing a mock candidate, and I'd like to introduce Chloe Quinton. Hewington. Sorry, I practiced that a few times. But she is volunteered to be a mock candidate, guys. She's a mock candidate, so she's going to be answering questions that are great and some that are not so great, and Dana will be reviewing some of those answers with her. So it's a fictional interview. So you're going to get some good responses. You're going to get some not so good responses, and we'll go through kind of what areas of those response that you can improve on, and any tips that Dana would like to provide. So I think we're ready to go then. Dana, are you?
I am, and Chloe, thank you from me as well. And Chloe has been a client of mine, and we've worked together on other issues, and I'm going to be a client of hers on another thing. So I really have a lot of respect for Chloe, and I'm really excited to, have this pretend interview. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Unless Chloe, you have anything to say? You want to just wave hello to everybody?
Thanks for inviting me on.
Awesome. All right. So interviewing. Hi, Chloe. Thank you for coming in to interview about this position. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? So I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. So, oops. Okay. So this is very similar to the professional summary on your resume. Keep your answer short and answer the 3 W's: who you are, what you've done, and what do you want to do. The answer here is significant to first impressions. So, Chloe, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Chloe. I'm married. I have 5 amazing children. I've been working as a data scientist for about 5 years now, and I'm currently in a position that will provide, I want a position actually, that will provide a healthy work-life balance to allow me to actually drop off and pick up my kids from school, and I'm looking around $100,000 annually with excellent benefits.
Okay. So, Chloe chose this answer, number 2, number 2, example 2, and so let's talk about what's right and what's not so right. So it's nice that she said that she was Chloe. Being married or having children is not their business. So don't add that whatsoever, because they may say, oh my gosh, 5 children, how is she ever going to put 40 hours in? So those are the things that you want to be looking at. Anyway, so Ghostbusters provide a healthy work-life balance. These are all great goals. You just don't want to bring that up and tell me about yourself. You don't want to bring up salary. I'm going to get my hand off of the mouse, but you don't talk about salary until they bring it up. So here it's not about what they can give you, it's about what you can give them. So the best answer is, hi, my name is Chloe. I've been working as a data scientist for the past 5 years. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I believe I'm the perfect fit for this position because the job description matches with my strengths, especially my attention to detail. So that's a much better answer that leaves out the personal information. And also you don't want to talk about benefits or salary unless it's brought up. All right, Chloe, here we are. Highlight your strengths as it relates to the position. Follow up each strength with an example. Oh, all right, so Chloe, which answer did you choose for that one?
So
Okay.
my strengths.
Go for it.
I'm a super detail-oriented person. I can troubleshoot issues quickly and accurately, and I can also provide excellent documentation and communication, which are critical traits to the data science position, such as this opportunity.
Fantastic. Okay, so Chloe's decided to choose answer 1, the good answer. So she is telling her strengths, and then here's the second one. It doesn't really build on it. Tell me your greatest strengths. Well, I'm detail oriented. I'm also a great documenter and communicator. You also want to give an example with that of something that you've done. like great documenter. I was the technical writer for the documentation on project blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but let's see. Did you have anything to add to that, Anurag or Chloe? Or Jeff?
No, I think it's
All right. We're going to go through your greatest weakness. This is the most horrible question for anybody to answer, I think. I hate this question. So the idea here, don't hang yourself, be honest. The answer here should be easily turned around as a positive. Follow up each weakness with how you're working on it to improve. All right, Chloe, tell me your greatest weakness.
Weaknesses. Okay. I really struggle with timelines. I'm very aware of this and set several reminders to help me out and be more punctual. But that's really my weakness is timelines.
Okay. All right, so that was answer number 1. Or wait, was that answer number 2? Let's see.
It is a bad answer.
Okay. There we go. So she did example 2. She struggles with timeliness. Nobody wants an employee that's not on time. But I am very aware of this and set several reminders to help me be more punctual. The first question is actually a little bit better. The first answer. I spend a lot of time perfecting my work and spend extra time preparing effective documentation and communication. I've been working on this by taking better meeting notes and practicing effective documentation with personal deadlines so that I'm ready to present to the key stakeholders. So that question is better, or sorry, that answer is better because they went into detail and said, you know, here's how I'm working on it. And employers like to hear that because everybody's got a weakness. We just need to know what that weakness is and plan around it. What do you think about your supervisor? Again, don't hang yourself. Positive. No negative remarks about a previous employer or supervisor. You're going to hear me say that quite often because it's very important. Okay, so Chloe, what do you think about your supervisor?
Oh boy, my supervisor. Well, my supervisor struggled with timely annual reviews, and he would surprise us all the time with reviews that needed improvements, but it would be better if he improved suggestions when we're not surprised. So he needs to plan it out. He's a really bad planner.
All right, good job. All right, so my supervisor was good about task delegation to the best resources. I also like that he would talk to his team prior to responding about team projects. Example 2, my supervisor struggled with timely annual reviews and he would surprise us at the annual review with needed improvements. It would be better if the improvements suggestions were not a surprise. So here, you're saying in example 1 that it's positive, you know, you say some positive things about your supervisor. In example 2, this could be, well, it's a negative statement, and you don't want to do that. You have to stay away from negativity in an interview. What do you think that your supervisor would say about you? Again, don't hang yourself. The answer here should also be positive, no negative remarks. So I'm going to repeat that a bit. So, Chloe, what do you think that your supervisor would say about you?
Well, my supervisor would praise me in project management, communications, problem solving. I'm often offered a project as team lead as a result of this.
Excellent answer. All right, so we have 2 sentences. My supervisor would praise me in project management, communication, and problem solving. I am often offered a project as a team lead as a result. That is very negative, very positive and interesting to the person that is considering to hire you. And example 2 is I believe my supervisor. you need to know what your supervisor would say about you. You don't need to say, I believe he would say that, but you can. But no supervisor really is going to say because you're awesome. Oh, here's some negativity. My most recent annual review wasn't as great as the previous year. However, I'm ready to be challenged with new responsibilities. Chloe or anybody, y'all have anything to add to that? Okay, next slide. How would your coworkers or classmates describe you? Again, positive. You can even throw in a fun response if you like. Example 1. Oh, sorry, Chloe. I put them both here, and then I'll just make it easier. All right, Chloe. How would your coworkers and classmates describe you?
Well, I believe I'm confident that my coworkers would commend me as an effective team member. And in some most challenging projects, I also feel they'd say I can be a humorous yet professional.
Okay.
They'd speak highly about me.
Okay. So example 2, I believe that they all feel like I'm a great team member and kind of a goofball. I put that in there because your answers need to be professional. Yes, you can smile and laugh if you want, but try and keep it as professional as possible. So humorous yet professional is a fantastic answer. Thank you for that, Chloe. Okay, what are your career goals, short and long term? This applies to everybody. So you divide the question up between short and long. Short term is typically 1 to 3 years, long term 5+ years, and where did 4 years go? It can be in either location, but so you should have these goals already in your head. I want you to write them down and practice talking about them. And next, okay, Chloe, what are your career goals, short and long term?
Well, my short-term goals, I want to be successful in this position and provide that I'm an effective leader with professional growth potential. Long-term, I want to be in a leadership role because I feel that my 8 years of management experience has prepared me to be a successful leader.
Great job. Okay, so what she's done here is she's adding, what her dream job is basically. And the example number 2, I don't think that I would put that you want to be a CEO. I think that you're just starting out a job, and long term could be something a little bit different. Like for example 1 where Chloe is saying that she wants to be in a leadership role and why. But don't just come out and say, yeah, I want to be CIO, CEO, CFO, whatever. You don't get a C job unless you've already been in a C job. All right, describe your perfect job. So here you use wording that's close to the job description and also your career goals. You want to make sure that your perfect job is the job description. And don't ask for everything but the kitchen sink. In other words, you don't need to say, my perfect job is, making $1 million a year. So leave benefits and perks out of it unless you piggyback on unique opportunities that are brought up by the interviewers. So I've learned that when somebody says, that's a great question, they're just trying to buy some time before they can figure out what they're going to say. Anyway, I'm sorry, I jumped. Chloe, which one did you choose?
I chose, let's see, perfect job. My perfect job is one that challenges me, but also provides many opportunities for growth. In addition, I enjoy mentoring, teaching colleagues and team members.
Excellent. So that one's very good. Your perfect job is one that you want to be challenged on. Opportunities to grow. Take out, that's a great question. Try not to do that. Oh, and while I'm on that subject, let's say leave perks out of it. Unless you piggyback on unique opportunities. I can't tell you how many people use like that. So try and settle your nerves. Try not to use the word in your interview, especially multiple times. All right, and then again, in example 1, they're talking about things that shouldn't be brought up until it's brought up by the interviewers. Do you prefer to work independently or as part of a team? The goal here is kind of let them know that you're good with both. So follow up with reasons and examples of how you thrive in both situations. Chloe, do you prefer to work independently or as a part of a team?
Well, I prefer to work independently, but if I am a part of a team, their personality has to mesh with mine. I don't do crybabies or people that just don't do work, so I'll just ignore them, but
All right,
you have to match my personality.
Yeah. So yeah, that was not what you want to say. So you want to give, So you want to give an answer that will show them that you can do either, like we discussed before. So great job, Chloe. Next. What is your management or leadership style? You may get asked this if you're not applying for a supervisor position. So be prepared for it just in case. Make sure you're positive. You throw in a fun response. And then, all right, Chloe, what is your management leadership style?
Well, my leadership style is to create a team vision and implement key strategies that will allow my team to learn and grow with minimal supervision. I shouldn't have said I have an open door policy and strive to provide the best advice and knowledge to make each team member successful.
That sounds fantastic. So now let's talk about example 1. My leadership style is to be hands-off to allow my team to learn on their own and ask for assistance when needed. In other words, this portrays that you don't really want to do anything, that you're just a manager and not a technical manager. So, excellent. Why did you leave your last job, or why are you looking for a job? That'll come up, I would say, almost every time. So let's go through that. Positive. If you're working, then use future opportunities that are not currently available to you. That's a good idea. Yeah, if you're let go, just keep it short and sweet. So you ready? Here we go. Example 1 and example 2. Go, Chloe.
Well, I left my last job because honestly, I didn't like my boss or any of the team members. Everyone was kind of taking money under the rug anyways. They were just dishonest. So I had to get out of there. So then I found you.
That's great. So in example 1, you don't say anything negative. That's why you don't say, I don't like my boss. Example 2, the company reorganized, and as a result, my position was eliminated. I think that I don't know anybody in the professional world that hasn't gone through at least one layoff. So you're not alone. And this is a very good answer to that. Just keep it short and sweet. As a result, my position was eliminated. They may follow up with, how do you feel about that? And you need to be able to answer that in a positive light as well. All right, describe your most difficult project. Why was it difficult? How did you handle it? And sometimes the most difficult project is also your favorite project. So we'll put the examples out there. Okay, Chloe, describe your most difficult project.
My most difficult project was when the rest of my team was not contributing whatsoever, and I complained to my manager, who ignored me, so I just did the best I could do.
Okay, why is that a bad answer? It's negative. You have to turn around, you have to twist it into a positive. In fact, if you're in a situation where that really, really happened and you just say that I just did the best that I could do, that's not a good answer. If you're not getting what you need from your supervisor, make sure that, you know, you follow up with them and tell them, hey, I need another resource for this, or your project manager. So a better answer was my most difficult project was when I created a website for a local business with an extremely tight deadline and scope creep. The project team met and created change orders to allow for accurate billing and resources. So scope creep, that's, you have a project, everybody's agreed on it, this is how much it's going to cost, this is how much time it's going to take. Scope creep is when the client comes in and says, can we have this? I'd really like to see a report like this. Does need to be put in change orders or whatever, but that's what scope creep means. And we're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Describe your favorite project. So use one accomplishment that you really enjoyed and say why. All right, Chloe, describe your favorite project.
My favorite project was also the website project because I love challenges. This was my first website and I'd been on and I learned a lot about the project management and the customer experience.
Oh, and I just saw a typo. So this was the first website that I had created. So I'll change that. Sorry, guys. So just saying that you learned a lot about the project management and customer experience, that's huge. So you're explaining why you're really happy to be on this project. So example 2, you know, you're like, yeah, okay, they're not asking me to do anything, so I'm just going to sit here and surf the internet. Describe a situation where your work was criticized. Don't hang yourself. How did you handle it? And what did you learn? Chloe, describe a situation where your work was criticized.
My work was once criticized directly to the project manager. We met as a team and determined how to better allocate resources.
Fantastic. Okay, so example 1, let's talk about this. You don't need to say that's a great question. That is, the interviewer might think that you're just trying to buy time in your head before you answer the question. So you don't need to say that. That's a great question. If you do say it, don't say it more than once. But my work was criticized when I was spending too much time learning. I defended myself directly to the customer. No, no, no. You do not talk to the customer. If there's some defense needed, you bring in your project manager or your supervisor to, help you fight your battles, pick your battles, but definitely do not go directly to the customer. So that was a red flag there. Let's see. Okay, next slide. Describe a situation when you had to work under pressure. Oh, sorry. How did you handle it? What did you learn? What was the project or task successful? So here's our examples. Okay, Chloe.
The company had a surprise audit. They made me provide company financials and work with the auditors. I was frustrated about the lack of notice and was not prepared. However, I did my best to meet expectations.
And you're showing some negative side. So you need to make sure that working under pressure was a good thing in some ways. And so just stay positive. You don't need to say lack of notice, frustrated, anything like that. So example 1, the company was chosen to present at a conference when another presenter had to back out. As a result, I was selected to create and present at the conference, which gave me 3 days to create and practice, half a day to fly in, and 3 days presenting. Overall, the effort was an incredible success. That's a much better answer. What do you like best about what you do? Be honest, use caution. Don't mention money or unrelated perks. And here are examples. Chloe, what did you like about best about what you do?
Well, my current role is customer facing and I enjoy being around people. Honestly, I have a passion for helping people and building my network. I also like the project management part of my job.
Excellent. That was a very good answer. You're positive. You say you like being around people, building your network. All these are very positive things to say. And then you can also add, I really like this part of my job, especially this is my favorite thing to do. On example 2, what do you like best about what you do? I want 6 figures. But seriously, my favorite part of the job is problem solving. So problem solving is great, but the 6 figures and the seriously and all that don't need to be there. Again, because you don't talk about salary until it's brought up. Okay, so why are you interested in us as an employer? Make sure you research the company prior to the interview. Know your job description. Add how you fit in. All right, Chloe, why are you interested in us?
Well, the recruiter told me that you own a few grocery stores, and honestly, I like to shop.
Yeah, that's obviously not the best answer. And so here's an answer that I liked. I've shopped in your North Miami grocery store for a few years now. I love the floor plan and lighting as well as the products that you sell. Also, the staff there is amazing. When I saw the job description, I was eager to apply. So that's much better and very positive, and you seem energetic in this answer. So why should we hire you? Tie your skills back to the position and show your potential value. Chloe, why should we hire you?
Well, I feel that my skills match the job description very well. As a result, I'll be able to hit the ground running with less training. I also have enjoyed meeting several potential team members today. Each person was very kind and helpful.
Great, that's awesome. So let's look at example 1. Well, you don't need to do that. No, well, no. Oh, that's a great question, but I need a job with benefits. So I've scheduled several interviews to create more options. I'm also willing to take a pay cut. That screams desperation is the best word I can come up with. You know, you're just saying, hey, I'll take whatever you can give me. I really, really need a job with benefits. It's not exactly something that you want to say in the interview. All right. So I put the contact information up here on the screen, and I'm going to turn it back over to Anurag. Chloe, thank you so much. And this is a reminder, her answers are not really her answers. She's just pretending for the benefit of this presentation. So thank you, Chloe. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chloe. Thank you so much, Dana. This was really nice to watch, kind of a little back and forth and kind of go over what are some of the do's and don'ts with the responses. So as Dana mentioned, everybody, here's her contact information. She's really helpful with job search, with doing mock interviews, helping with your resume, putting together a strategy. And I've got my contact information over here as well. If you're looking for opportunities right away, you can always give me a call. You can also reach out to my colleagues that are on this call, Jeff, Alasia, and Bridget on this call. If you guys want to share your LinkedIn on the chat, feel free to do that. But I really hope everybody found this to be really beneficial. Things are getting better, guys. There are a number of positions out there on a lot of different categories, a lot of different industries. Companies are hiring. So, I'm sure a lot of people are getting a sense of anxiety and just getting stressed out at times, but there are things that are improving. So we're here to help. We're going to continue doing these webinars as long as we can. We're going to do one next month as well. You'll get the information on that. Follow me on LinkedIn. If you follow our Eventbrite page, you'll get that information as well. But if you guys have any questions at all, we did have one question, Dana, from one of the attendees, where the question is thoughts on including a headshot on your resume. I've been seeing more people include photos recently. What are your thoughts on that, Dana, about including a headshot on your resume?
I think it's a waste of white space. And if they want to know what you look like, they're going to look on your LinkedIn. It's a space taker, and it could, unfortunately, it could exclude you because of a picture. So you have to be really careful. You know, like I had a person have a picture on there, and I was like, "Oh, sweetheart, that looks like your mug shot. You know, take another one. Smile."
Yeah, yeah. My input would be, you know, if somebody, like you said, Dana, if they want to know what you look like, you're going to have your LinkedIn on there. So a lot of companies are using keywords to pick up and just prioritize applications. So you want to use, like Dana said, a lot of space for that, but also you don't want to, you know, screw up the configuration of your resume when you, you know, input it into one of their portals. It may move things up and down. So you know, they've got your LinkedIn profile that's got your nice professional picture on there, so you could use that too. But I have seen few people put it on there too.
Yeah, and it's very important to, you know, provide everything professionally, and so make sure that your picture on LinkedIn looks great, then you don't have to have it on your resume. I personally don't put my picture on my resume.
Well, if anybody has any other questions, we've got a few minutes here that we can kind of go over it. But Jeff, did you want to add anything on top of what we've talked about so far? Any additional advice or information that you can provide from your perspective?
We can't hear you, Jeff. I think we lost. Oh, there he is.
I think we
missed him. He
Yeah.
may have it on mute.
Well, he's over at the Midwest, but get in touch with us. We can provide you with the information as you know, anytime. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you have any questions at all, please do reach out. Jeff, I think I see you there now. Oh,
He's still frozen. Hi,
Hey
Jeff.
guys, sorry, I just lost the feed for some reason. Sorry about that.
There you are.
no worries.
Hey, one thing I will recommend, and can you guys hear me okay?
Huh?
Okay, good. Hey, so just real quick, regarding interviews, one thing that I always recommend just about everyone that I prepare for interviews when I send them out for interviews with clients is that always have 2 or 3 success stories in your hip pocket. And those are just examples of projects that you're kind of proud of that you can kind of filter in wherever necessary. So if someone asks you for a success story, or if they ask you for a project that you had, you know, that you recently, or a challenge that you've recently overcome, anything, there's many different areas in the interview that you can insert those, but rehearse these 2 or 3 success stories at home. And by success stories, I mean, you know, there was a problem in front of you, you came up with a solution, and you can quickly outline the solution, and doggone it, you're kind of proud of it. So you can kind of throw those out there, interject them into the interview at any time. So just have 2 or 3 just ready to go. That's what I always recommend. So, and just always be positive about, and walk in there feeling good about those successes, and feel good about sharing them, and be excited about sharing those successes, and that excitement will come through in the interview. So it's always good to have a little backup when you walk in there, not just your resume, but you've got ammunition, and you can say, hey, these are really good, and I want to share these with you. That's what I always recommend. So that's my tip for the day.
Awesome. Yeah, and you just made me think of something else that a lot of people ask me about, is the references upon request. That's a white space killer as well. It doesn't need to be on there. Everybody assumes that you have references. Just be prepared when they ask. Make sure it is ready when they ask.
Good point.
Anurag, turn over to you. Any other questions?
No, I think that's all it is. So guys, I want to thank you guys again for taking the time. I want to thank Chloe. Please join us again in our future events. You've been so helpful, and I wanted to see if you have anything to say about job search or with your perspective on, you know, folks that are looking for opportunities.
Well, she and I have been working on her resume. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Chloe? Chloe,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the same thing. I'm like, you guys helped me a ton because I had a bunch of just crud on my resume, and I had a bond request, and I had all kinds of space takers and a bunch of millennial stuff that shouldn't be on there. So,
Well, I appreciate you taking your time. Thank you guys. Look out for more information on our next webinar, and feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. All of our information is provided over here. And I hope you guys are staying safe and have a great evening. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Chloe, Jeff, Anurag. All right, we'll talk.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.